I have been to Congress, and we've got, shipping, number 64.
Everybody ready? Okay, it is 10:34, August 18th, 2025. We will now go into open session. The first item on the agenda, the signing of the minutes from June 23rd, 2025. That has been completed. Second item, I believe everybody has submitted their claim to travel vouchers. Okay. Next item on the agenda, I believe we have a guest superintendent, is that correct?
Yes, sir. We have,
Would you like to introduce our senior trooper?
we have interdiction trooper, senior trooper Christopher Waltz. I'll talk to you a little bit about interdiction. Chris. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Like Superintendent said, my name is Trooper Chris Waltz. I'm assigned to the Drug Enforcement Section Criminal Interdiction Unit. I've been assigned to this unit for about the past 7 years. I started my career with the state police about a little over 10 years ago. Started my training with interdiction right away. Started in-house some training with our older, more experienced interdiction troopers. Then I went to several different conferences around the country where basically the best interdiction instructors in the country all come together and do a bunch of training called a DIAP conference. I've been to a few of those. Desert Snow, pretty much any interdiction training that is available, I've attended. Then training in the field, I was trained mostly by Sergeant Gupta and Trooper Brad Smith. Basically what interdiction is we sit on the side of the road on I-70 usually, is where I work, and we observe for unusual driving behavior that is accompanied by a violation of Indiana traffic laws. Basically, we then stop the car and we just have a general conversation with the occupants of the person driving. If during the course of that general conversation we decide there's a reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot, we usually either ask for consent or deploy a canine on that vehicle to search it. I'll just give an example of just kind of like a standard interdiction stop. You're observing traffic in a vehicle that's from a different part of the country, is behind a tractor trailer at one car length behind them. So typically you want 6 or 7 car lengths, so you're following too closely. The driver's got both hands locked down, looking straight ahead, head's behind the B pillar. Got a traffic violation of following too closely. You stop the vehicle and begin a discussion with the driver. He said he's visiting Indianapolis from Cincinnati, Ohio, and he came to visit just for a couple of days because he's on vacation. And it's December, and now he's on his way back to Cincinnati. That sounds pretty basic to just someone sitting here listening to it, but there's actually a few things wrong with that. First of all, when people talk about unusual driving behavior, if you're traveling across the country and you're driving hundreds of miles, typically you're not going to be going under the speed limit and falling right behind a semi-truck. Secondly, if it's traveling on I-70, that's not how you get back to Cincinnati, so there's something wrong with that. Not a whole lot of people come to Indianapolis to go on vacation. Follow up, ask him, why was he here? What did he visit? Did he go to the Shields Museum, the zoo? He tells you he just was staying in a hotel most of the time. This is the actual stop I had. In that case, that person was involved in a retail theft throughout the country. A lot of what I base my stops on is one of the best interdiction instructors in the country. You ask yourself during the stop, if I wouldn't do it, why wouldn't I do it? And if I wouldn't do it, why would they? So that's kind of interdiction in a nutshell. I believe one of the main reasons I'm here is because a lot of you guys have seen me on the news and on several different documentaries for the Brian Kohberger stop, which is the Idaho murders suspect. He's guilty now. This happened in December 2023. I was working on I-70 near the Henry Hancock County line. That day was a little odd. Sergeant Ernst, who works for the Hancock County Sheriff's Department, was out there working with us. Typically, we would work west of him, and on this day there was some construction going on, so we were actually working east of him. Sergeant Ernst had stopped the vehicle prior to me stopping it for the same traffic violation, following too closely. As far as what I observed before I stopped the vehicle was just your typical unusual driving behavior that we see time and time again with criminal behavior. He was following too close behind a semi-truck. He had his hands locked out. His face was hiding behind the B-pillar. Never looked at me. I stopped the vehicle following too closely, and they pretty much notified me right away that they had just been stopped by Sergeant Ernst. I did not feel like it was my place to double check Sergeant Ernst's work. He has been doing interdiction full time for far longer than I have. I had a brief conversation with Brian and his dad, and then he was let loose with a verbal warning for following too closely. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
Do you have a canine with you, or do you have to call one in if you?
Yes, I became a canine handler about 3 years ago. So at the time of this stop, I didn't have a canine with me.
Okay. Now, do you have the canine to walk around the vehicle on every one of the stops you make, or?
No, usually the only time we would deploy a canine is if we had a reasonable suspicion that there was some sort of criminal activity taking place. And even if that's the case, a lot of times, based on the circumstances and how our interaction is going with the driver, we'll typically try to get consent to search, which is usually pretty successful. So a lot of times the canine's not needed.
So you find that even if a person has illegal drugs in the vehicle, they'll still give you permission to search, thinking maybe that you won't go ahead with the search if they consent?
Yes, I've had multiple stops where I've asked consent to search, and the driver knew good and well they had narcotics in the car, and they still granted me permission to search. Sometimes I think it's because they're bluffing and they're hoping that they seem so relaxed and we're not going to go search it. Sometimes what these drug trafficking organizations will do is they'll build what's called a trap, which is basically a hidden compartment inside a car. Sometimes they're so confident in their trap that they don't think we're going to find it. And in most cases we do, I'm sure. Sometimes we don't.
So obviously, about how many cases have you been able to file as a result of your interdiction work?
Well, it's really hard to say. It's not something that happens every day, every month. I've had years where I've had 6 or 7, maybe 8 in a year. There's been years when there might only be 1. It just depends on the year. Currently, right now, it's the trends are that the number of stops that results in the seizure of a substantial amount of narcotics is going down, but the amount of narcotics is going up. So a lot of that's because they're using mostly semi-trucks and trailers.
So bigger volume, but less stops?
Yes.
And since the state police have gotten the body cams, have you been able to utilize those in your motions to suppress, or during a motion to suppress where you got consent?
I can only think of 2 off the top of my head where I've had to go to a trial for motion to suppress, and the body camera footage was utilized. I think at least one of those, the driver signed consent, and that's on body camera, so it's kind of hard to repeat. So.
Kind of a handy tool to have, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many in your unit do you have working?
Well, for the longest time, there was around 5 or 6 of us, but that has changed drastically here in the last, since the beginning of the year. So I mean, for them, more than 5 now.
We're up to 17.
17?
And recently, just last week, Trish and I were telling Sean Smart from the Ohio Highway Patrol came over and did some training. There was 32 folks, many of them were district personnel that trained out of the academy. He is known throughout the United States as being one of the best interdiction officers, and he's just from across the Indiana line there in Preble County, I think, Ohio.
Just about everybody who's worked in interdiction for a long time is regarded as the best
Really?
instructor in the country. We're lucky to be right next door.
So do you interact a lot with local police departments in their interdiction units?
I wouldn't say a lot. Like the Coburger stop, that's Hancock County has what's called a PACE team. That no longer exists. They don't really work out there anymore. So really, we spend most of our time working on the interstates and on the east side, Indianapolis, the east side of the state. There's not really a whole lot of local departments that are out there. Now I do know out west, there's quite a few local agencies that do have officers out there working interdictions. I know some of our other officers work with him, not personally, though.
I was just curious if there's any method or means where you all can kind of share intelligence and trends.
Yeah, we absolutely keep in contact with each other, especially more on an interstate level. We get some contact with Ohio and Illinois constantly on a daily basis. So if I see a car and I don't have probable cause to stop it, and it looks very interesting to me, I'll forward that information along to Ohio. We've had times where they've stopped it and there's been contraband in the car and they returned the favor and told us the same thing. So.
Anybody else?
I just want to say one thing. Every week I submit a memo to the governor's office about accomplishments and seizures and significant events that have happened during that week. And frequently it's coming from their unit. And whether it's a whisper stop working with DEA or other federal agencies or just from cold stops, it frequently comes from the interdiction guys. So they're invaluable to the state for sure. They do a great job.
Sir, one more note. We are looking to collaborate with other agencies as we move this program on. As it grows, we think there will be other agencies that want to participate and be a part of it. So it's kind of part of the thing we talk to the sheriffs and chiefs about. So I'm sure it'll gain some interest as these guys keep putting up good numbers that they do.
I agree. I think a number of the sheriff's departments, at least up north, are interested in what's coming and going each way and how it's getting there, and methods of transportation and volumes. So we appreciate all your work, and we know the state police program as far as is expanding now quite a bit, and wish you the best of luck and thank you
All right, thank you.
for all your work. Anybody else? Anything else?
Yes,
You
sir.
said the key word, probable cause. When I was a state trooper, or even in 2006, they sent me to Greensboro to work down there, and I was working with Greensboro PD, and they said, well, how are we gonna do this? I said, we got our DUI checklist, probable cause, license plate not lit, no turn signal, cross the line, under the speed limit, over the speed limit, and we just started tossing. That was our probable cause, which led to guns and drugs and arrests. But I know a lot of guys don't have the due diligence to go out there and say, it could be something or it could be nothing. Well, I'm gonna find out, and I remember one night this guy said, who you with? I said, I'm with ATF. He said, ooh, you guys got my buddy, he ain't come back yet. I said, well, that's the way we roll. And then we had issues with the members of the black community because they wanted to say we were just in a black neighborhood. And I said, man, look at me, I've been all over this city. But it just, you get in that loop where it's what you get paid for. You see it. I mean, one night I pulled up on a car that was on the side of the road, lights on. It was my 7th grade science teacher and her girlfriend. Both of them drunk, passed out. Could easily just went by it, but I saw it, Then one night, stopped on the West Kentucky Parkway, see a car. There's a guy dead in the front seat, so you get in that loop, you just gotta be persistent about it. I talked to Trooper Max Coon, and he's in K9 now, and I'm telling you about somebody who's all fired up. The only person more fired up with him is his dog. And he said his dog just goes crazy, but we talked about techniques and stuff like that, but it's, you get in that loop, you just gotta just say, hey, you gotta check it out. But I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
And if IPD did some of this stuff, they wouldn't have the issues they have. And I
They
told
used
somebody, I said, I need to go talk to Chris Bailey and tell him what we did in North Carolina. This former cop goes, that idiot ain't gonna listen to you. I'm just telling you that if you start tossing these guys in the inner city, you're gonna start coming up with stuff. Had a lady one night, and they said, well, the lady lives in Raleigh. I said, well, we're going to Raleigh. We knocked on the door. I said, hey, we found a gun in your car. You know what she said? Oh, I can't wear that case. So she dumped her brother. But it can be done, but you just got to keep your nose to the grindstone. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I wore the superintendent out like, hey, man, I'm on 465, and it's like the Indianapolis 500. Now it's like, dude, what is it, interdiction week? I see like 20 clubs.
Yeah, and
I ain't slowing me down. Stay within the limit.
Next item on the agenda, we have, first of all, a review of staff report by Colonel Relaford.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Personnel changes.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did I miss that? I'm so excited about the interdiction stuff. You just jumped.
you were going on to the next car.
Exactly. Okay, personnel changes. Superintendent?
Yeah, we're requesting the following changes, which will be effective August 17, 2025. From the Enforcement Bureau, Sergeant M. Porteous, Field Operations Area 3, Bloomington, District 33, is promoted to the rank of First Sergeant Permanent to serve as the Assistant District Commander. Sergeant Andrew R. Taylor, Investigations Bureau, Forensic Services Division, is promoted to the rank of First Sergeant Permanent and transferred to the Enforcement Bureau, Field Operations Area 4, Sellersburg, District 45, to serve as the Assistant District Commander. Investigations Bureau, Sergeant Patrick R. Decker, Forensic Services Division, Digital Forensics, is promoted to the rank of First Sergeant Permanent to serve as the Digital Forensics Field Supervisor. Master Trooper Robert M. Bennett, Investigations Division, District Investigations, Sellersburg, District 45, is promoted to the rank of First Sergeant Permanent to serve as District Investigative Commander. Master Trooper Joshua T. Greer, Investigations Division, District Investigations, Jasper, District 34, is promoted to the rank of Sergeant Permanent to serve as the District Investigative Squad Leader. Senior Trooper Adam W. York, Enforcement Bureau, Field Operations Area 1, Peru, District 16, is transferred to the Investigations Bureau, Investigations Division, District Investigations Area 1, Peru, District 16, and reassigned as a detective permanent. Senior Trooper William P. Gannon, Enforcement Bureau, Field Operations Area 5, Indianapolis, District 52, is transferred to the Investigations Bureau, Forensic Services Division, Digital Forensics Technical Services Unit, and reassigned as a detective permanent. Trooper Daniel A. Magnabosco, Enforcement Bureau, Field Operations Area 5, Indianapolis, District 52, is transferred to the Investigations Bureau, Investigations Division, District Investigations, Area 5, Putnamville, District 53, and reassigned as a detective permanent. Support Services Bureau, Master Trooper Timothy A. Grayson, Enforcement Bureau, Commercial Vehicle Enforcement, Collaborative Policing Division. Commercial Vehicle Enforcement is promoted to the rank of Sergeant Permanent and transferred to the Support Services Bureau, Employment Services Recruiting, to serve as an Employment Services Recruiting Coordinator.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any board members have any questions or observations relative to the proposed personnel changes? There being no questions or further discussions, is there a motion relative to the superintendent's proposed personnel changes?
So,
Okay. Is there a second for approval?
second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the personnel changes presented by the superintendent, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? There being none, the personnel changes are unanimously approved. Now, next item on the agenda. Staff report, Colonel Relaford.
Morning, Mr. President and members of the board. For the board report, as of August 1st, 2025, we have 1,134 troopers. On the back of the board report, you see those that are pending separation. We graduated the 87th class on July 24th with 18 traditional graduates and 2 laterals. The 88th class is starting next month on September 14th and we have 14 laterals that are slated to start that lateral class. We are opening the 89th class, which is a lateral class, today. And that is slated to start the academy on January 18th. So we hope to have a good response after some lessons learned on our end and the applicants' end about assessments for the laterals. We're making some changes and hopefully we get a good number of applicants starting today when we open that process. So you should be seeing that on your feeds and news that we're opening that process. That is all I have unless you have any questions.
Anyone have any questions relative to staff?
How many weeks of training will the laterals have?
Good question. So the academy that starts next month is 8 weeks. The one that starts in January, we already figured we're going to a new weapon system. So that one's going to be 9 weeks. So we needed to add another week from the 8 that we originally started with.
And I take it that most of the laterals are from local departments in Indiana, or how many do we have from outside the state?
The 14 starting next month are all in the state of Indiana.
Okay. Do you have to make it a longer class if you've got people who are applying from out of state because of difference in laws?
And it's a very good question. So what we do in our training, we do it as a baseline because we know all are coming from different agencies with different training. And so we have a baseline. And then what they'll do in the training in that first week, they'll do like scenario-based training to kind of get a gauge of where everybody is at. And then they can adjust their training the rest of the 7 weeks to make sure everybody is at tip-top shape.
Oh, I have one more question, sorry,
No,
Mr.
that's
President. Are we now using what I would refer to as Hogan's Alley out at the academy?
Yes, sir. With all the expansions and still expanding with the new Evo trap, with the new firearms range, we have full access to the entire grounds to train with. We just have to work around the other agencies when we do our schedule, but we have full access.
Is there a viewing area for that Hogan's Alley where the board might someday be able to go out and watch a couple of the recruits go through the training?
Yes, sir. We'll arrange that.
Can we play the bad guy?
With the sim rounds, so we'll figure that part out.
I'm sorry, bad girl or bad guy?
Girls are good, it's bad guys. So.
Although we spent a few minutes in executive session discussing some of the academy issues, as far as our dorms, where do we stand?
Yes, sir. I was out there the other day and most of our furniture, because our furniture is not but less than 10 years old of what we have in our rooms. But it's all in the hallways now and they're starting to gut out the old rooms that we have. And so it's a process for sure. But as long as the money comes through for the capital project, we'll get ours renovated. If they're not ready by the academy, we'll just go into the new rooms, the new section that we've been using for our last academy.
Okay.
The colonel can attest that the fire alarm works there.
And when completed, the rooms are going to be beautiful, right?
Yes.
The new rooms in the new section we haven't seen them yet. They're very nice. Hotel, top of the line.
Good.
How many old rooms are there?
It's at least 100. I mean, we're talking the entire second floor.
It's about $2 million. That was last year's quote. This is probably closer to $3 or $4 million now.
Are they double occupancy rooms?
We are doing double. We used to do triple. Just the capacity, with like I said, a basic academy is usually running from 80 to 120. And if we have 40 or 50 ourselves, then sometimes we have to triple, but we try to keep it on 2 because of the furniture and all the gear that we have during the academy. It's not comfortable. So we're going to try to keep it at 2 per person, 2 per room.
How's the Evo track working out? Because I heard at one point, this may be old news, but that straightaway, they had some issues about the big back straightaway and the speed limit on it. Has there been any issues, or is?
Those issues should be corrected. Those issues were people not following the rules.
Okay.
And so I believe we got that straightened out, or the ILEA
Yeah,
got that
just,
straightened out.
not just targeting our troopers, but I guess the whole training thing, or that, the whole Evo track and that back stretch, we're worried about some safety issues for everybody that trains out there, so.
Absolutely.
That would probably be another place that'd be nice to let the board take another look at, because it is a interesting, I've never driven the new one, but it sure looks nice. So.
Famous last word. Hey, y'all watch this.
Any other questions for Colonel Relford? Okay. All right, next item, military leave without pay. Colonel Hill.
Morning, Mr. President, members of the board. Requesting military leave without pay for Trooper Matthew Hatchett of the Bloomington District from August 17th, 2025 through January 16th, 2026. Second one would be Officer Oladelli, pronouncing that right, the Capitol Police Section. This would be an extension, military leave without pay for the period of August 24th, 2025 through February 19th, 2026. And the third one, criminal intelligence analyst Jasmine Perez Tejeda. This would be an extension of military leave without pay from the period of August 12th, 2025 to August 18th, 2025.
Any questions on the military leave? Thank you, Colonel Hill. Just out of curiosity, are these extensions pretty well anticipated by the various troopers, that they know ahead of time with their orders well in advance, so you all can?
Yes, sir. Usually we get someone's orders at the beginning of the year, and
Okay.
they just have to submit their paperwork as they go.
Okay, so it's just a paperwork issue as far as when it comes to us.
I just know from experience of working with guys in the past that they always seem to know when they were going to be gone.
Okay. All right. So no big surprise as far as staffing for the department. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item, our favorite, the July 24, 2025 meeting minutes, consider for approval. Mr. Graves will.
Take a confident of it over there.
I do have one correction, I believe, that needs to be made. It's on page 1, the second paragraph, last sentence, where it says, Master Trooper McCormick further added his father was a trooper, and he did not realize what it was to be a trooper. That could either be changed to he did not realize, or I think more properly it should be, and he had not realized what it was. Other than that, I found nothing else to correct.
Madam Secretary, is there anything additional?
Nothing additional.
Okay. Very minor change. Okay. In light of the change submitted by Mr. Graves, is there a motion to approve the July 24th meeting minutes as correct?
So moved.
Two motions to approve. Dave,
Second.
second. All right.
Stereo.
For the
We're stereo.
Right.
Want to keep the record straight. All right. All those in favor of approval of July 24 minutes as corrected, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? There being none, the minutes have been unanimously approved. Okay, the next item on the agenda is scheduling a hearing date for the disciplinary matter of Lieutenant Jeffrey C. Heron. The board has been informed that Lieutenant Heron is appealing to us his disciplinary resolution by the superintendent, and we have in executive session discussed our various commitments over the next few months by board members in order to try to get a feasible date. Also, we've been informed that the superintendent and the rest of the command staff will be out of town at a special training session. Is that correct, Superintendent?
Conference training.
Conference training. Okay, on October 27th, which is our October scheduled meeting,
No, they're out on the 20th.
or the 20th, I'm sorry, they're out the 20th, which is our scheduled meeting. And therefore, the board is looking at October 27th to schedule this hearing and to change our board meeting date. Okay, we considered the possibility of doing it in September, but I believe we all felt that that might be a little early for the parties and for the board to do it next month. So we are going to, everyone, I think, is in agreement that we will change our board meeting from the 20th to the 27th, and we will send out notice to the parties that we intend to hear this on that date, and we'll see if there's going to be any problem with the parties relative to that hearing. Just for the record, if we don't do it in October, it's probably going to be difficult. We have commitments with recruits in November, December, in January, we're getting into cold weather, so we can't do it in October. We may be well into next year before we do this, so hopefully we'll be able to conduct the hearing October 27th. Okay. Any further discussion on that, or we're all good with that date? All right, so we will agree then to move the October meeting from the 20th to the 27th. I believe next month we can vote on that, or we don't have to vote on that date, but we'll include it in the record now and reconfirm that next month as well. Okay. And it appears, I think generally, that we hope to complete that hearing on the 27th as well. Okay, anything else relative to the disciplinary matter hearing that we need to discuss at this time? Okay, if not, next item on the agenda, Superintendent Scott, any comments, observations you'd like to bring to the board?
Just want to say thanks to Tom for his generous donation to the Colonel. It's going to make my life a little easier, I hope.
I guess for the record, we probably ought to, at least since this is being live streamed, Tom, if you want to get the,
Make it official.
make it official and represent in open session your gift and the reasons for the gift.
This is a gift from the whole board. But this is going to stop, as we said, the unusual behavior of the colonel of complaining that he doesn't have anything to hang in his office, and this will be there and support the many challenge coins that he has. And
I want to say thank you very much, seriously, for this. That I really have, over the years, and particularly in the last several months, gotten several coins, and I did not know where I was going to put them, and Anthony's not offered to help me. So thank you very much. This is very, very nice. I greatly appreciate this. For me in my office.
And for your information too, there's a retired guardsman from Fort Wayne, International Guardsman, that used to work for me 100 years ago, I think it was. But he makes these for veterans, and that's who made this one up and made it special. And I don't know if you could read it, but it says Colonel Chris Hill. It's, right in there.
Very nice. Great.
Thank you so much.
Nice idea, Tom. Thank you.
I mean,
Other than that, President, I'm not anything further.
Colonel's going to have the envy of offices and, so when it's full of challenge coins, we expect to see a picture.
Oh, we'll schedule a tour.
Yeah, or a tour. Okay, any comments by any board members?
yeah, for the superintendent, can you give us an update on the status of our fleet?
Our fleet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just made this past purchase, that was 200 vehicles. We've got 182 blue Durangos, 18 plain cars, and then the 5 Mustangs. We're up about 150-ish now. I'm working on a purchase of 50 to 60 more Durangos, hopefully within the next couple months. I've been working with budget and the chief of staff for the governor's office. I believe that's gonna happen. And we're trying to work with the governor's office and IDOA to come up with a solution, long-term solution to get our mileage points down. There's been a couple things thrown out. One of them, IDOA's got an idea that if they will take our cars to 100,000, they would ensure that we always had cars under 100,000, and they would take them and use them for another agency, and they can use them for a lot longer, because they don't drive like we drive. So that's one model that's been put out. The other is simply just trying to get our mileage point down by purchasing vehicles. It's kind of the understanding right now to knock off 10 to 15,000 of that. We have to purchase 250 more vehicles next year. But that poses a significant problem in and of its own. And even if we buy the 250 vehicles, I'm not sure we can get them built and in the field quick enough to reduce our mileage point. John, it's kind of one of those, we've got to find a long-term solution to be able to put these together quicker than we are. And Shay and his team and Mick out of the garage are working on that. There is a long-term solution, but it's waiting on the new prison to be built. The Department of Corrections Commissioner Lloyd Arnold has already offered up that once that's up and running, he would like to start an assembly line to build our vehicles, which would be a huge cost savings to the state and probably be able to get our vehicles out in the field a lot quicker than we currently can now. We've tried outsourcing in a couple different places, and it seems to be they overpromise and then underperform. And then when we push them to do more cars, they make mistakes. So we just haven't found a platform to be able to we can get the cars, we just can't get the cars in the field because we got to put the lights in on the radios, all the stuff we do once we get them. We just haven't figured out a solution to really lower that mileage point, John, to be honest with you.
used to be that if these were police commissioned, they would do all the wiring and stuff for you and all that stuff, where all you basically had to do was look up.
Yeah, so we haven't, I know some agencies do that. They buy direct from Ford, Chevy, or Stellantis, and they have them wire them for their specifics, their specific radio systems or their lighting. We haven't tried that model yet, and I don't know that if Shay's team's looking into that. It obviously adds some cost to the purchase of the vehicles, and I'm guessing the reason we never did that in the past is because we believe we could wire them cheaper and better than they're doing. I'm not sure that I agree with that, because we've found that our system's not real efficient, but Nick's truly working on that, out of the garage now to try to find a solution for us long-term. But we're trying, but those mileage points creep up really quickly when we can't get cars out. And again, they could drop 500 cars out there tomorrow, it doesn't solve our problem, just because we can't build them fast enough.
It's taking about 5 days per vehicle to build.
And in today's technology world, you know, we have to outfit them with the in-car cameras, we're putting push bumpers on the front, we're putting the stickers on, we're putting the lights in, we're putting the radios in, you know, installing stop sticks, all the stuff that we have to have in these cars, computer mounts, and all the stuff to run those computers. It's just not like it was 20 years ago when you knock some lights in there and a radio and you're good to go. So there's a lot goes into every one of these vehicles.
How much is it once you get you think it takes to actually do one complete vehicle? With all the stuff, yes.
I think it's what, 13,000 to upfit, Shay?
So,
55, 60.
Yeah, it's almost like for every couple you do, you're buying a new car just upfit.
thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I guess finally, I think we all enjoyed your first graduation. We were able to attend. Was happy to see that the governor made time to just show up, and give the keynote speech, and participate as well. He had a real proud group there. I think we all thought highly of him after our interviews with them, and it's always fun to watch him march down in the Capitol and get their badges and everything. So,
Thank you. We really feel like that group, while there wasn't a lot of them, I
Right.
think they're going to be solid troopers. We had a lot of those folks in that group who give us a lot of good years of service there. They seem to be a really, really close-knit group and kind of ahead of the game, in my opinion.
They commented that was one of the best groups they had come through quite a while.
that's great. Good to hear. Anything else? Okay, then our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 15th at 9 a.m. Here at CVED. And if there is no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There being no opposition, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Thank you, Superintendent and staff,
Thank you.
for being here today. See everybody.